bella c'è la luna, brille strette, strette come tutto bella pasteggiare sotto il cielo di Roma.
Hi, I'm your Uncle Frank.
Who were your favorite cousins?
My cousin Sonny. Sonny, he was fabulous, and my uncle Dominic, my cousin Dominic. I mean, there's so many of them. There were so many of them, and because my mother and her sisters and brothers, they're like a year apart. So we're really, we'd have a family picnic. I left Chicago in '61, and every year we'd go back for family picnic, and we go to the forest preserves, and we'd have games, and my mother was the oldest sister, so she was the matriarch, and my brother-in-law would have this big, gigantic chair, like in the movies where King George sits there, and everybody would come up to her, and it was great. It was fabulous. My mother made meals every day. Maybe not breakfast, but it was lunch and dinner. And she would be cooking meatballs and freeze them. She would, just, in those days, everything was fresh. We go to the market every day. We go fresh lettuce. I go to the bakery, DeLeo's Bakery on Taylor Street, and I go get the warm bread. My mother say, go get 1.5 pounds, okay? So I go get 1.5 pounds. And as I'm walking home and I'm starting to eat the bread, by the time I got home, it was gone. Mama says, where's the bread? I says, oh, I ate it. Gee, go back and get another one. It was great. It was simple, but it was just, I think it was magical. That's for me, okay? And a lot of my peers feel the same way. Again, we miss the old days, but life goes on. What can I tell you?
Come bella c'è la luna, brille strette, strette come tutto bella pasteggiare sotto il cielo di Roma. Come bella c'è la luna, brille strette, strette come tutto bella pasteggiare sotto il cielo di Roma.
I'm Uncle Frank. Everybody has an Uncle Frank, especially in Italian family. My father was my father was kind of quiet. He was an orphan since he was 8 years old, and but quiet, but sweetheart. What a sweetheart of a guy. I'll put it this way. I made more money when I was 15 to 16 years old than my father did. He was just a hard worker, and he worked in cleaning air conditioning at the Tribune in Chicago. And but we had everything. We had plenty of food. We had my mother used to make clothes. She was a seamstress, and no complaints. Everybody has everything now, and the kids have everything now. And I don't know if it's a good thing. Yeah, I guess, but.
Which one of your brothers and sisters gave you the worst time?
My sister. My sister and I used to fight all the time. We'd have breakfast, and we'd have a zuppadel. I'll tell you what zuppadel is. It's a bowl of coffee with a hard Italian bread. You put pieces in it with a little sugar on it. It was. And anyway, because we didn't get along, and we had, like, let's say Kellogg's Pep or cereal, we would stack the boxes up so we don't have to look at each other. I'm telling you, but she was probably my best friend until she passed a couple of years ago. So close, and I used to talk to her all the time.
Who was your favorite teacher in school?
Oh, Miss O'Day. Miss O'Day was fabulous. She used to smell this perfume she had. It smelled like burnt oranges. Orange peels.
Who was she? She was a teacher, right?
No, in the grammar school, yeah, Miss O'Day. She was terrific. And Everything was so different. It was so different. Everyone you went to school, they weren't dressed up, but I mean, they had nice pants and a shirt and whatever. Not like it is today. I mean, it's just, it's just different. So I guess I'm from the old school. I live in the past, unfortunately, but that's where my best times were. You know, of course, things do change. The difference between born in 1936 and born in 2021 is a little different, that's for sure.
Come bella c'è la luna, brille strette, strette come tutto, bella pasteggiare sotto il cielo di Roma. Bella c'è la luna, brille strette, strette come tutto, bella pasteggiare sotto il cielo di Roma.
Hi, I'm Uncle Frank. I'm going to tell you a quick secret. My first girlfriend was Mary DeJohn. Mary DeJohn, I was in grammar school. I went to Reese Elementary School on Taylor Street. And you know, I told my mother, I said, you know, I really like this girl. And my mother says, Mary DeJohn, what kind of name is that? I says, oh, I don't know. She says, aren't there any Italian girls? I says, yeah, Mom, but I like this girl, you know. And later in life, when I would date, we'd go to have some parties in the basement, you know, with all my friends, and I'd have a date, and I'd say, what's your name? And she'd tell me her name and whatever. And my mother says, are you Italian girl? She says, no. My mother says, how come you don't date Italian girls? I said, well, they have brothers. And I don't want to get in trouble. But it was great. Everybody was wonderful. And everybody had respect for each other. You know, you hear things about the television shows like The Sopranos and so forth and so on. It's not that it's overrated, but some of the language, we never spoke like that in our house. We never cursed. My mother never cursed. My father, nobody. We never did that. We were respectful to our elders. We go to church and do the right thing. Always do the right thing.
Hi, I'm your Uncle Frank.
Hi, I'm Uncle Frank.
Uncle.
My Uncle Frank. Actually, my Uncle Frank, he was a character. He one time we were in the projects on the first floor, and my Uncle Frankie, he took my sister from the window. You know, it's not high, and he took her out shopping, but he didn't tell anybody. So he comes. I mean, we're crazy. We can't find my sister. Can't find my sister. So he comes back about 2 hours later, and she's wearing a rabbit fur little coat with a hat and gloves. He took her shopping. I'm telling you. And 50 years later, my mother was still mad at him for doing that. Yeah, we had fun. We had an uncle who had a truck and garden farm, South Chicago. He had 160 acres, and he had 8 children. And everybody used to work the farm on weekends. And it was just terrific. We'd pull carrots and peppers and tomatoes, and you always have a salt shaker in the back of your pocket so you can, and everything was fresh. They'd do that all day long, and then they'd bring all it into a shed where there was an old tub, and they would wash all the vegetables and put them in crates. And then on Sunday, my Uncle Pasquale, he would go to the market in Chicago, and all the grocers and the farmers bring all their goods, and it was fabulous. I mean, we get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. To me, that was just great, you know. But so many memories. I should write a book.
Come bella c'è la luna, brille strette, strette, strette come tutto, bella passeggiare sotto il cielo di Roma. Bella c'è la luna, brille strette, strette come tutto, bella passeggiare sotto il cielo di Roma.
I'm Uncle Frank. I wanted to talk to you about Christmas time in Chicago. When I was getting older, I worked for a wonderful Italian man. He had a newspaper stand on State and Lake, right across from the Chicago Theater. And I mean, cold. I mean, the wind off the lake that's a killer. And you'd have to put, if you had boots, most of the time we didn't have boots, but and we'd get gloves, and it was terrific. And we'd be under the L. The L would go, and you can hear the L going go 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 go, and your ears would be plugged. Now every once in a while, when it wasn't windy, and it was windy all the time, it was magical because the snow started falling, and because my ears were plugged because of the L, I would walk home. I'd walk home to Taylor Street. It was only like 4 or 5 miles, and it was magical. I'm telling you, it was like Disneyland before it was Disneyland.
When was the first time you met Santa Claus?
Santa Claus. When did I meet Santa Claus? I mean, I would pray for him anyway. No, I didn't see him, but like most kids, we wouldn't give him milk and cookies. We'd give him cannolis and pasta chop and chujadel, maybe a little glass of wine, you know. And Santa Claus was great.
Marshall Field?
Marshall Fields, so I remember that. Marshall Fields was fabulous. And all those big department stores. And we used to go, we never went to restaurants, but my father used to like to go, what do you call it? We'd go to, at the Loop, and we'd go window shopping. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but it was kind of exciting, you know? So we'd go see all these great stores, and my sister and I, before my brother, and we would window shop. And we'd go to Maxwell Street. And Maxwell Street, we'd be in the back of the car, and we'd get those hot dogs, Chicago hot dogs. They're very famous. But in those days, we used to call them Red Hots. And it was like we could be up like to 11 o'clock at night, which was amazing. And the people were, tons of people walking around. It was just magical. I mean, what a wonderful time. But it's the same way in Jersey City, New York, Cleveland. Those were times and those were neighborhoods, they just don't exist anymore, unfortunately.
Bella c'è la luna, brille strette, strette come tutto, bella passeggiare sotto il cielo di Roma. Come bella c'è la luna, brille strette, strette come tutto, bella passeggiare sotto il cielo di Roma.
Hi, I'm Uncle Frank. Wanted to tell you about some of the things in high school. Remember Riverview? Riverview was a, God, what do you call it? The Ferris wheels and... Say what it was?
Kind of like a Disneyland.
Yeah, it was like a Disneyland. And I'm telling you, it was, again, magical. Everything was magical in my mind, you know. And it could be because my mind is always somewhere else. And we just had so much fun. Again, if you gave the guy 10 cents, and you can go shoot the ducks and whatever, but it was terrific, and everybody was wonderful. It was really, really wonderful times. You know, we didn't know anything about. I grew up in 1936. We didn't know much about the war. you know, and we didn't get a television until 1948, and you can never see anything because the rabbit ears and so forth. But again, you know, progress was great. You know, progress was great, but just kept going, and again, life is good. Life is still good.
Hi, I'm your Uncle Frank. How did you get from here, Chicago to here, California, and then you can get into the dress business?
Hi, I'm Uncle Frank. I want to tell a story about I left Chicago in 1961. I thought I was Al Pacino, and I was learning how to be an actor. So I figured either I go to New York or California. So I decided to go to California, and it was so terrific. At those times in the early '60s, there were so many actors who came to California, and on Sundays we used to play baseball. We had teams, and I remember who played Jack Nicholson, Frankie Avalon, Don Rickles, Jimmy Caan. I mean, just so many actors. A lot of them made it big. Of course, most of them didn't. They went on to other things. But I did some movies. How do I? Oh yeah, I said I did two pictures, one this way and one this way, but not really. So I did some television. So I was always interested in clothing, and I was a bartender at the Whiskey A Go Go in the early '60s. And I was there for 5 years, and I met all those wonderful groups, from the Doors to I mean there was tons of them, and Motown people, and the Pointer Sisters, and Jimi Hendrix, and on and on and on. And Jimmy Webb would be at the bar making notes for songs that he was writing. And again, it was gradual. The go-go dancers with Johnny Rivers, that started in the '60s, and so many people, so many stars who got to be very, very big, and it was terrific.
Come bella c'è la luna, brille strette, strette come tutto, bella pasteggiare sotto cielo del Roma.